I have some news for you. You've been fed a lie this whole time, and in the next 25 minutes, you'll find out what's been right in front of you all along. Tonight, everyone will be looking up at the sky, pointing, celebrating, posting the same filtered moon pictures. But what they don't see is that this moon is hiding something. Because this isn't a moment of illumination, it's a reveal. You see, people keep saying the full moon is about completion, but that's only half the story. What if this moon isn't ending something because something opened during the solstice, and tonight it's checking who made it through? The solstice was the gate. This full moon is the verdict. People thought June's solstice was just about intentions and vision boards, a gentle reset. They felt lighter for a moment, like something had finally been cleared. But they were wrong. The clearing wasn't the gift. It was the preparation. Because this moon, it's the first full moon after the solstice. This full moon is where the consequences show up, not as punishment, but as mirrors. Whatever you ignored during the solstice is now echoing louder under this sky. Yeah, it heard you, and now the energy is folding back in on itself, not to hurt you, but to test your calibration, to see if you're still aligned with what you claimed you wanted when the gate opened. This isn't just a full moon, it's the first one under new surveillance. The rules shifted, but most people didn't notice. If the solstice was you stepping into the arena, then this moon is when the lights turn on, the crowd is watching, and the first move is already in motion. And if you think that's intense, wait until you find out how perfectly placed this moon actually is. We're halfway between the last eclipse season and the next one coming soon. And that isn't some astrological footnote. That's the key to why everything suddenly feels like it's under a microscope. This full moon isn't here to soothe or to clarify. It's here to freeze frame, to zoom in. It's like reality has been paused just for a moment, not to give you rest, but to let something take a closer look. You might have noticed the sense of weird timing lately, that eerie feeling like you're in the right place but 5 seconds too early, like the world is running, but you're in a waiting room inside it. That's because this moon is a checkpoint between two storms. You're not done, and you haven't started. You're just being held, examined, felt out. We're not in the calm before the storm, we're in the calculation inside it. If eclipses are like spiritual earthquakes, breaking, realigning, shaking open locked layers, then this midpoint is the silence between aftershocks. But don't mistake that silence for safety. Silence is exactly when the most accurate decisions are made. And what's being decided now isn't small. It's about trajectory. Not the kind you change tomorrow, but the kind that becomes your default 6 months from now. This full moon is like the breath the universe takes before it speaks your name again. The question is, what version of you is it about to call forward? Because whichever one you're performing right now is the one it's about to lock in. This full moon isn't just revealing you to yourself, it's revealing you to the system. And I don't mean the government. I'm talking about non-physical intelligence, higher consciousness layers, entities, guides, guardians, even echoes of your own future selves. This moon is pulling data, and not from your aura or your birth chart. It's pulling from your choices, from your silences, from the split-second decisions you've made in the last 48 hours without even realizing they were tests. You're not just being seen, you're being sorted. Think of it like a spiritual algorithm, except it doesn't just track what you do. It registers why, how you move when no one's watching, where your internal compass twitches, what you prioritize, and what you dismiss as unimportant. This moon doesn't need to test your potential, it's already seen it. What it's looking for now is your signal strength. Are you ready for deeper mission work? Are you actually embodying the path you claimed? Or are you still auditioning for a life you haven't committed to? Roles are being assigned. Assignments, real ones, not just synchronicities, are being drafted based on who you're showing up as now, not who you say you are. And before you think this is about judgment or consequence, hear this. You're not being punished, you're being positioned. And the ones who think they're invisible right now are actually the most visible of all. So when that strange sensation creeps in, that you're being watched, nudged, tracked, don't ignore it. That's not paranoia. That's your timeline making a decision about where to place you next. People hear Capricorn and instantly picture structure, ambition, strategy, hustle. It's the zodiac sign that shows up to work, keeps its emotions tucked under a button jacket, and builds empires brick by brick. But that's the surface. What they don't realize is that Capricorn, under the raw, uncompromising light of a full moon, becomes something else. Something sharper, less human, more algorithmic. This isn't emotional energy. It's forensic. It's exact. It doesn't care if you're tired. It doesn't care if you're confused. It doesn't even care if you meant well. It doesn't care how you feel. It wants results. And if your reality isn't matching your actions, it will collapse. Right now, your life is being looked at like a spreadsheet, line by line, energy in, energy out, no filters, no excuses, no padding. And where the math doesn't add up, the formulas break, the structures crack, the masks shatter. This full moon is not asking for a performance. It's asking for proof. Not verbal, not theoretical, real, grounded, visible proof that you are living in integrity with what you say you want. This is why things are suddenly falling apart for people who thought they had it all together. Not because they did something wrong, but because this moon is eliminating anything built on illusion, hope, or spiritual bypassing. Think of it as a cosmic audit. The Capricorn full moon isn't angry. It's not dramatic. It's not yelling. It's doing exactly what it came to do. It sees what doesn't hold weight, and it cuts it loose. And here's the catch. You don't get to negotiate. You don't get to explain. If it's fake, it goes. So if your job, your habits, your relationships, even your spiritual beliefs have been on shaky ground, this moon will give you one last look before it pulls the floorboards up. Not as punishment, as correction. This moon isn't cruel, it's precise. And precision feels brutal when you've been living blurry. Here's what no one's saying. Manifestation right now is broken, like completely offline, blocked, scrambled, mute. And it's not because you're doing it wrong, it's because this moon is intentionally disconnecting you from what isn't aligned. People are lighting candles, scripting, meditating, saying the affirmations, and it's falling flat. Not because the tools are flawed, but because the intentions behind them have become contaminated. The more you try to force your desires right now, the more invisible they become. This full moon is acting like a spiritual firewall. It's cutting access to any frequency that comes from the ego. That means anything you're trying to manifest from insecurity, control, envy, validation, or even fear gets rejected. Not gently, hard. If your manifestations were a wish list, this moon just erased it. Not because you're not worthy, but because the list was written in the wrong language. See, this moon doesn't want your wanting, it wants your alignment. It wants you to become the thing first, not demand the thing while staying the same. This isn't a block, it's a detox. All the spiritual tools that once worked like magic, crystals, sigils, scripting, even prayer, they're going quiet unless they're being used from a place of actual soul integrity. It's not about how bad you want it anymore. It's about how clearly you're vibrating as it. This full moon is forcing you to face the actual source of your manifestations. Not the wish, but the wound behind the wish. Because let's be honest, how many of us have been trying to manifest things not because they're right, but because we think they'll finally make us feel safe, seen, or healed? The energy doesn't lie. And this moon reads it like binary. So if you're feeling blank, foggy, disconnected, it's not failure. It's an invitation to stop asking, to stop forcing, to stop projecting timelines that were never yours, and to finally listen to what's left once everything else stops responding. The moon always arrives early, in the dream world first. If you had a strange, vivid, or even slightly haunting dream 3 nights ago, that wasn't just a dream. That was the beginning. That was the first ripple of this full moon, long before it showed its face in the sky. The moon doesn't wait for the peak, it whispers early. And the first place it enters is your sleep. People always think the full moon only starts affecting them when it's full. Like there's a countdown, and then suddenly, intensity. But the truth is, this one? It bled through the veil days in advance. It seeped into the cracks of the dream world, when your mind wasn't watching, when your conscious guard was down. That dream you shrugged off. That moment at 3 a.m. where you jolted awake without knowing why. That almost memory of someone calling your name in the dark, but you couldn't answer. That was this moon, testing your internal radar before your mind even had the chance to resist it. This moon doesn't ask for permission, it scans the subconscious first. The dream was your briefing. And if you didn't dream at all, if the nights have been quiet, too quiet, ask yourself, what was trying not to be seen? Because silence isn't nothing. Silence is a signal. There are people this moon has deliberately bypassed. Not out of cruelty, but because their internal static is too loud for the signal to break through. Or worse, because they've been suppressing a message so long, even their dream self won't speak it. This full moon doesn't need your words. It respects presence, stillness, observation. That's why it sent the message early, not when you were journaling, not when you were meditating, but when your mind was off duty. Go back to the dream, if you had it. What symbols came up? Who appeared that hasn't shown up in years? What emotion lingered even after you opened your eyes? That was the seed. That was the initiation. And whether you noticed or not, the full moon has been watching ever since. Some people think their awakening starts when they open their eyes, but it started the moment they closed them 3 nights ago. Some gifts were sealed in your bloodline until now. There are gifts inside you that didn't come from this life. They're older than your name, older than your personality, older than your beliefs. They live in your blood, in your bones, in the buried echoes of the people who came before you. But here's the truth. Not all of those gifts were passed down freely. Some talents were sealed, some memories were locked, some truths were hidden on purpose. In certain bloodlines, there are ancestral locks, spiritual barriers placed to protect, preserve, or delay access to deeper knowledge. Knowledge that might have destabilized you before you were ready. Or worse, knowledge that your ancestors weren't ready for you to find. But this full moon? It hits that lock. Directly, precisely, unavoidably. And for some of you watching this, it's already started to unseal. You might have noticed it subtly, a childhood memory flooding back out of nowhere. A strange ability you had as a kid, returning without warning. Dreams of a grandparent or long-past relative, suddenly speaking in full sentences, delivering a message, showing you something buried. These are not random, these are activations. This moon is not just a reflection of your present, it's a torch being shined backward through your genetic corridor. This is a moon that reaches into your bloodline and says, the time has come. For some, this will feel like an emotional flood. Stories you didn't know you carried. Grief that's not yours. Strength that you never realized you inherited. For others, it's a sudden unlocking of spiritual sight. A hunch that turns out to be a prophecy. An intuition so sharp it scares you. And for a few, it's going to feel like a confrontation. Because what was once sealed was sealed for a reason. You may have to face ancestral patterns, spiritual debts, or psychic echoes that need reconciliation before the gift is granted. But make no mistake, if you're sensing something shifting inside you right now, something old, deep, and strangely familiar, you're not imagining it. You're remembering it. This moon is not just revealing who you are, it's revealing who you were always meant to become once the ancestral gate finally opened. You've been taught to think of the moon as soft, quiet, a nightlight for the spiritual world. But not this time, not under this sky. You think the moon is passive, but not today. What's happening right now isn't lunar peace, it's lunar voltage. This full moon is sitting in direct opposition to the sun's most reactive layer, the high-frequency radiating sheath that surrounds the solar body like a crown of plasma. And when that solar force hits the moon just right, it doesn't illuminate her, it charges her. This isn't a moon glowing with reflection. It's a cosmic battery that's been wired into the grid of your nervous system. That's why so many people are suddenly wide awake at 2 a.m., why your thoughts feel louder, faster, more erratic, why you feel an urge to move, change, escape, even if nothing around you is wrong. This is not the lunar energy you drift off under. This is the one that kicks the door open and says, "Wake up, you're in it." People mistake this energy for anxiety. They call it burnout, overstimulation, chaos. But what's really happening is that your body is trying to interpret an unfamiliar frequency, a moon that is no longer receiving, but broadcasting. It's pulsing, it's piercing, it's direct. If you feel like your intuition is louder right now, it's because it is, but not in the mystical, dreamy way. In the way a siren is loud. In the way a flash of lightning makes everything clear for one split second. This moon is not asking you to feel. It's demanding you to respond. So when you catch that surge of energy and don't know what to do with it, trust this. You're not meant to soothe it. You're meant to ride it. And when it feels like everything's a little too fast, too sharp, too much, remember, the moon isn't calming you. It's calling you to move. Because stillness, right now, is just another word for sleepwalking. Let's say it clearly. This moon doesn't grant wishes, it invalidates them. All those desires you carefully wrote down, all the vision boards, the rituals, the affirmations. If they were built on old programming, they're being wiped. Not out of cruelty, not because the universe is ignoring you, because those manifestations were built by a you that no longer exists. You might have felt it already. That strange numbness, the weird stillness, the disinterest in things that just a week ago had you obsessed. That's not apathy, that's purification. The ego's wish list has expired and the soul is still reloading. This moon is performing a mass deletion of intentions that are no longer aligned with your true path. Not because you failed, because you outgrew the framework those desires were created in. And here's the secret. A lot of people never realize this is what's happening. They think they've lost motivation. They spiral, they cling, they try to revive those goals through hustle, force, or guilt. But those old desires, they weren't yours anymore. They were ghosts, echoes of a version of you who was chasing safety, not purpose. This moon is the hard reset. It doesn't just unplug your spiritual router, it installs a new operating system. That's why your old scripts aren't running. That's why your old intentions feel fake. That's why your manifestations feel like dead weight. You're not uninspired. You're being recalibrated. Let go of trying to want something just to feel progress. This moment isn't about desiring more, it's about clearing space. Because what's coming next needs room. It needs your signal clean. It needs you empty enough to receive something real. And that can't happen if you're still clinging to the expired instructions you gave the universe. So if you're standing in the middle of this moon's energy with your hands empty, your dreams blank, and your heart strangely calm, you're exactly where you're meant to be. Because this moon doesn't ask, "What do you want?" It asks, "What's no longer true?" Tonight's silence isn't just absence, it's presence. It feels like the room is holding its breath, like something is there, just out of sight, waiting to be noticed. And maybe you've already felt it. That strange pull towards stillness, that odd quiet inside your mind that doesn't feel empty, just expectant. Most people won't catch it. They'll scroll past it, sleep through it, try to fill it with music, noise, or movement. But this moon, it's amplifying everything that exists underneath your distractions. Not to overwhelm you, but to introduce something or someone. Because this silence isn't just quiet. It's alive. You're not imagining it. The room really does feel different tonight. It's not darker, not colder, but thicker. Like the air is carrying more data than usual. It's not scary, it's not threatening, but it's definitely aware. And if you stop filling the space with sound and thoughts, you'll start to notice the texture of the silence itself. There's information there, there's recognition. It's not your mind playing tricks, it's your field picking up on something that's been trying to reach you, but couldn't until now. This isn't just stillness, it's a signal waiting for your response. There's something in this energy, a kind of soft pressure, that isn't pushing you to do anything, but is watching how you choose to exist without guidance. It's not testing you, it's witnessing you. Because under this moon, the veil isn't just thin, it's porous. What you do in silence echoes across layers, and there are layers that are finally listening. That's why it feels like your thoughts are louder. That's why random memories are surfacing without context. That's why you're having sudden surges of clarity, then doubt, then stillness again. It's not confusion, it's contact. So if tonight feels strange, let it. If the silence feels alive, trust it. And if something starts to move inside that silence, don't rush to define it. Just feel it. Because this isn't the kind of night you explain. It's the kind you remember, even if you don't understand why. The moon isn't asking anything of you. It's waiting for you to realize it's already here. If you're still watching, I'd like to thank you for your attention. If you enjoyed the content and want to see more, please consider clicking the subscribe button. Your support is very appreciated. Feel free to share your experiences or thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, take care and subscribe for more insightful content.